Thanks, Philip. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you're having a great weekend. My goal with the show is to interview our community leaders that help make Putnam County a great place to live, work, and raise our families. Today's show is all about Putnam County Fairgrounds and the options the County Commission is currently studying. My guests today are no strangers to the fairgrounds. Mr. John Allen, who's the current Fair Board Chairman, Mr. Wes Roberson, and Mr. Jeremy Glascock, who are also Fair Board members. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Hi. How you doing?
Thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all and what you do for Putnam County and for the fair. Before we dive into today's topic, I'd like to kind of go around the table and each of you give a brief history of yourself and the part you play with the Fair Board. John, we'll start with you.
I'm president of the Fair Board. Have been for, this will be my 7th year. Nobody else wants the job, so it's mine. I grew up loving the fair, and that's why I do what I do.
Well, that's great. Jeremy?
Jeremy Glascock. I've been on the fair board for 6 years, I think, officially. I kind of take care of the livestock barn, help with back to the barnyard stuff, mostly ag and livestock events.
As is your part of that.
That's my part.
Wes?
My name's Wes Roberson. I'm on the sponsorship committee, the events committee, and put on most of the horse shows that go on at the fair.
John, you have some great history about the fair. Can you tell us about when the first fair started and bring us up to date?
Actually, the archives researched this for us. The first fair was held in 1856.
Wow.
1 year after White County held their first fair. They started in 1855, we did 1856. During the wars, we stopped having fairs, but started back up when the war was over. At one time, the fair was on the acreage that's now the quad at Tennessee Tech, and we owned that.
Now that's some amazing history, isn't
We
it?
own 6 acres that's now the quad at Tennessee Tech.
That's
I wish
amazing.
we'd have kept it.
I do too.
But we sold that property to Jerry Whitson, and they started Dixie College. It moved over to Washington Avenue, and we had our own train track. A train car would come up and to the fairground and unload and go back and pick up another load. Then it moved to Maple, which is where the first fair was that I got to go to. I was 10 years old, and then it burned the year after that, 1956. It burned. And we've been down off of Jefferson for the last 60, 62, 63 years.
I hear folks that were here during that time, a lot of them were children, remembering the move from the Maple Avenue out to where the fairgrounds is today, about how everyone thought that was such a bad move, that it was going to be so far out of town, and you have to realize that was before the interstate, that was before everything moved out on Jefferson, so it was a very desolate area. But I'm guessing the stock barn, and we had
Dr.
Keller's old office out there, I think was probably one of the only 2 things out there, but those leaders back then had the forethought, the future looking, to be able to see that Cookville was going to grow and it was going to be a great place to have that, and it served us well for a lot of years, hasn't it?
Yeah, yes sir, it has.
So now, I want to make sure that everyone understands how the Fair Board works. John, you being the chairman, used to be the county commission was involved with the Fair Board.
Right.
A lot of county commissioners were part of that. That's totally different today, right?
Right. Long about, let's see, 2013, 2014, we asked the county commission to let us select our own board members. And in those discussions, the county commission decided that they would separate from us and that we could be our own 501c3. And so we are a 501c3. We manage ourselves. We do have Glenn Jones, who meets with us when his schedule permits. So that is our link to the county, but we are no longer under the umbrella of the county commission.
I can remember all my years being a department head and now the county mayor going to those county commissions, and sometimes those would be the worst meetings, trying to figure out who they were going to appoint to the Fair Board. It was amazing how they could approve $10 million expenditure in 60 seconds and spend 45 minutes to decide
3 meetings trying to pick one more Fair Board
who's going
member.
to be on the Fair Board. So I'm glad that's changed. All you are volunteers.
Right, right.
Got to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours put in by the Fair Board putting on the fair each year. John, how many fair board members do you have?
We have 20 fair board members, but we have 62 people who work on the fair year round. That's our honorary members and our committee members. We have 3 or 4 major committees. And so we have 478 people that volunteer, that help do some role in the fair, and we devote about 20,000 hours a year to the fair. That's about $500,000 of value to the county for what we do in putting on the event.
That's amazing, and I think that speaks well for our community. You having that many people that are willing to help you put on the fair. We have a large group that brings the Blue Cross Bowl here every year. Work
Right.
together as a team. And we still have a great attitude about volunteerism, I think, in our county.
Absolutely.
This past year was a great year for the fair. Can you tell us about some of the stats that
Sure.
people attended and so
We
forth?
had 54,000 people. That's right at the same number we had last year. So that's about all we can manage, unless we can get more people in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. That's the only time we actually have extra space, parking and all. The best night was the first Saturday night. We had over 10,000 people on the grounds the
Wow.
first Saturday. 10,643 people showed up that first Saturday.
That is unbelievable.
That was monster trucks. They like lots of motorsports, so we have 7 nights of motorsports. We have all the traditional things, horse shows, fairs to the fair, livestock shows, dairy show. We have everything any traditional fair has, plus we have motorsports, because that's what people said they wanted.
That's changed, hasn't it?
It has changed drastically, but we survey people every year that come to the fair and ask them what they liked, what they dislike, and what they'd like to see different. And then we try to deliver on what they ask for. Sometimes we can and sometimes we can't.
Jeremy, there was a new part added to the fair that you were part of, you were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
Tell us about that. It was very successful.
Back to the barnyard.
Back to the barnyard.
John Allen challenged myself and Susanna Klaus to bring a barnyard to the fair that would remind him of his grandmother's barnyard.
Wow.
So we kind of took that challenge and run with it, I guess you could say. I mean, you can go anywhere to a petting zoo,
Right.
but we wanted to bring that petting zoo to the old 1940s, I guess, barnyard.
Right.
We had folks milking cows. We had some broom makers there. They were very cool to watch. Had some guys shoeing horses, and every night I believe there was Dry Levy set us up a cabin down there to use as the old homestead, the old
Right.
house. We had some ladies from the quilting group and all good, and they sat out there with a quilt in their lap and quilted quilts.
You had these kids and folks seeing things
Right.
that they may have never saw or may have the opportunity to see if it hadn't been for that. Very
Right.
successful. You're listening to Today in Putnam County on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter. More Fair Board members John Allen, Wes Roberson, and Jeremy Glascock when we come. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great weekend. My guests today are Putnam County Fair Board members Chairman John Allen, Wes Roberson, and Jeremy Glascock, and we're discussing the possibility of locating the fairgrounds at another location. And we've been talking about the fair, guys, and it's actually an award-winning fair, John. In the past, you've received awards. I enjoy each year going to the state fair banquet in Nashville. Tell us about the award. Was that a couple years ago that we won the big
Well,
award?
in 2014, we were the most improved fair, and then in 2016, we were first runner-up, and then last year we were first runner-up. So we're expecting to get beyond first runner-up this
We
year.
want that big award,
Yes,
don't
we do. Yes, we do, and it'll be in Murfreesboro this year.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to do that. Y'all do a great job with the fair. Our existing fairgrounds, as you said, built back in the 50s. Some of the buildings, grandstands and so forth are coming in major need of repairs and renovations. And so the county commission, we started looking for another location for the fairgrounds. We had one locked in, John.
Right.
It was probably two and a half years ago. We thought we were going to the Baxter exit, the old raceway. It's amazing how things change in politics. From one Monday night at committee, the votes were there, and the next Monday night, the votes were
We were
not there.
short.
We were short about 3 or 4, and because there were some folks in Cookville that wanted to see the fairgrounds stay in Cookville. I think some don't realize it's the Putnam County fairgrounds, and so I didn't see the issue, but I don't believe anything happens by accident. I think everything happens for a reason. Today we know that property was bought by a company called Portobello. We're going to have the largest business project in the history of Putnam County, $150 million luxury tile company coming to that property. So
Oh, it's great.
it all worked out. So we're been back to square one. I've been searching for property now for the last couple of years. Not easy to find, Wes, as you know, in your job with Farm Bureau, going around and traveling across the county. Not easy to find 125 acre tract that has all the necessities that we need for the fairgrounds.
Or Expo Center.
Or Expo Center.
That's the main thing. The Expo Center's for the use of Putnam County year-round, not just during the fair.
Let's talk about that. So a lot of folks think the fairgrounds are just about
Just for
the
the fair.
fair. Fair's only 10 days
That's right.
a year, and so you've got all the other 355 days to have it sitting there, and our fairgrounds doesn't get used that much. We do have some events out there, but you have the same mentality that I do, that it's more about having something there every weekend.
Every weekend.
Big event, and you travel to a lot of locations with cattle rope and so forth. You saw a lot of facilities. Tell us about some of those.
Well, there's a lot of events, and it's not just horse events. You can have huge car shows, huge rallies, just like the hog rally we have at the fairgrounds. But there's many other events. People will rent our facility every weekend and have multiple events going on, not just
Right.
one group. If the Expo Center is large enough, you can have a group of the car show over here, and you can have a horse event or a cow show going on the other side, and, you know, different segments of the Expo Center. Our fairgrounds is pretty congested. If we have a big event come in, nothing else can be there.
We're landlocked.
We're landlocked.
Parking's an issue.
You can't have motorcycles running underneath horses. You wind up getting people hurt, but if the facility's big enough and you don't have the threat of the weather, that's another big issue we have at our fairgrounds. If it rains, whoever's scheduled to be there they're done, you know.
Right.
Nobody's gonna come out in the rain, stand in the rain, look at cars. But you have covered facilities that you can put these shows in, gun shows, knife shows, boat shows. There's lots of people that will want to come to our facility if we have the facility to rent them.
I agree, and we had the National Cablers Association came in and did their annual conference. And we got about 1,200 people that came to Cookville, Putnam County. They used our fairgrounds, but if it had not been for Tennessee Tech and our high school being willing to let those folks use those facilities to be able to have their educational seminars and everything in, we would not have gotten them to come to Putnam County. We've been talking about a convention center, a conference center, an expo center, event center, whatever you want to call it. We actually went and toured some of those facilities. John, we went to Wilson County and
Williamson County.
I was amazed with both of those facilities, great facilities, but the Wilson County especially, open concept, with barriers that you can put up to divide the building up. But I understand from talking to the folks down in Wilson County, they're pretty well booked out for
No, they
a
are.
year in advance.
They were booked out before the building that new building never opened, so they were booked for at least 18 months out before it ever opened.
I think our facility would be the same way if we did something in.
If we build it, they'll come.
I think so too, and it's more about not just the fair. We're talking about an event or expo center. We're talking about covered grandstands, arena, midway that's paved, barn, smaller covered facility. We don't even have an air conditioned facility at our.
Right.
We have days out at the fair where you bring the senior citizens, you bring all kinds of folks out there, special needs, and we don't even have an air conditioned building that we can bring them to. So as we get down close to the end of the second segment, let's go ahead and mention the two properties that we're gonna be looking at. Tennessee Avenue, it's called the Nash Medley property. It's up to about 130 acres if we wanted to buy most of it. It's located at the new Filth interchange. Every property has some issues, has some small wetland and some streams on it, but we think we can work around that. The other property is out on Highway 111. It's called the Trinity Church property. Trinity Church bought it several years ago. It's about 106 acres. You look at both properties, they meet all of our needs when it comes to, we gotta have infrastructure, good roads, both those meet those. We gotta have good sewer and water facilities, both properties meet those. We gotta have visibility, both of those, one of them on 111, one of them on the new Tennessee Avenue, good visibility on both properties. They both have pros and cons when it comes to issues of, some folks say, well, the Highway 111 property may have too much traffic, or the Tennessee Avenue property may sit a little bit off the road, but both of those are good properties and good prospects that we're looking at. So when we come back on our second segment, we're going to talk about those and the pros and cons. You're listening to Today in Putnam County, News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter, your host. Coming up after the break, more with Fair Board members John Allen, Wes Roberson, and Jeremy Glascock. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great weekend. Today we're talking about the Putnam County Fairgrounds and the possibility of locating that to a new location. The County Commission is studying that. I have two properties that I presented to them. One of them is on Tennessee Avenue. We call it the Nash Medley property. The other property is on Highway 111 and Old Sparta Road, which is called the Trinity property. Guys, don't put you on the spot, but I'm going to, okay? Let's go around the horn, and John, I'll start with you. And do you have a preference of which property? You've looked at both of them. We've been talking and meeting on this for a while. Do you have a preference on the two properties?
Tennessee Avenue,
And
access to I-40. We have a lot of people that come to the fair, and so I like I-40 access. It's convenient, and I'm just 2.5 miles from the property.
it's close to your home, man.
It is, so I can go over there quite conveniently.
That's good. What about you, Jeremy?
I like that Tennessee Avenue thing, property too. Not only access from I-40, but I mean access from Highway 70 and Buffalo Valley Road. I mean, there's so many different ways you can get
Multiple
to it.
directions.
And they're all good roads. It's not like coming down Walnut and Veterans and trying to wiggle through Jefferson traffic. It's, you know,
Well, it's
there's
got a
big
back
corner.
road too, doesn't
It
it?
does.
An
Hawkins
exit.
Crawford.
Yeah,
Hawkins
it's Crawford Road.
Yeah, so it's got multiple ways to get in and out.
Lots of, I'm gonna say Tennessee Avenue.
Wes, what about you?
I'm gonna take the Tennessee Avenue property too.
So it's gonna be unanimous today,
Yeah,
huh?
the lay of the land is more suitable for an expo center. It's on its own road, more or less, Tennessee Avenue. We've got a lot of traffic on 111 already. You put a fair expo center right there on 111, it's gonna make it more congested.
Mhm.
I think I-40 and this Tennessee Avenue can take the traffic and never know the difference.
Well, and like we talked, there's pros and cons to each property. Traffic is an issue on Highway 111, Old Sparta Road. There's a lot of traffic coming from Maple across. Definitely would have to be some kind of signalization at that location if we used it. Probably would have to redesign Old Sparta Road as it goes into the property. And that's one of the pros for the Tennessee property, is that it's on the brand new Tennessee Avenue.
The exchange was built for that.
Filth interchange there, if things work, we might be the first thing that goes in there. Might be the spark that sparks the economic growth for that
And we're
area,
looking
too.
for new business.
Yes.
Come up the interstate.
That's right, and then the visibility from that location is good. Of course, a lot of folks may not know Tennessee Avenue is a controlled access road. The access is actually at the corner of that Nash Medley property that we're looking at, so we can, in talking to the city, could put turn lanes in. They have a lot of right-of-way there that they purchased with the road when it was built. Intended to someday be 4 lanes or 5 lanes as it goes down, so that is one of the pros for that piece of property. Do you see any negatives on the Tennessee Avenue or the Trinity property other than what we talked about?
I don't see any, I mean,
Well, the Tennessee Avenue property is 130 acres. I'd rather
More
get,
acreage, right.
I'd rather have the more acreage so we can grow.
And it's cheaper on price.
Yes.
Looking at 27,000 an acre on the Tennessee Avenue property, looking at almost 35,000 an acre on the Trinity property. Both of them great properties. We're just talking very blunt here today as to what my guest opinion are, and as to what they think about a new location for the Putnam County Fairgrounds, and hopefully an event center, expo center. Jeremy, we were talking during the break. There are national events that we know of that are looking for homes. You think that it would be a great location to bring in a lot of these events on the weekends?
We live at livestock shows. You know, the American Angus Association, they have a Eastern Regional Show every year. It's held was held in Lebanon last year. But, you know, they jump around to different places, and all I know is about cattle and pigs, you know.
Yeah.
Every breed has its own deal every year somewhere. There's no reason that we can't have that here. And, you know, it's the same thing with horses, same thing with dogs, it's same, everything, and that's just animals. Who knows what else could go in there?
Yeah, we're just touching agriculture and
Yeah.
livestock animals on that side.
These photographers, they have these big conventions. I mean, there's all kinds of
We got
things.
machinery shows.
Yeah.
Tractor
A
shows,
lot we
car
don't even know,
shows,
right.
boat shows. It's amazing at all the possibilities when you think about it. And currently, we don't have a facility in Putnam
Right,
County or
right.
any of the surrounding counties.
Right, but we got the motel rooms.
We have the motel rooms, got two new
The
hotels that are going in. It's gonna give us 1,600 rooms available here in Putnam County. We don't have a large enough facility that folks can bring a convention of any size, or have a facility that they could even have a large banquet at. We had the problem with the cavers coming in. They had to rent a humongous tent.
That was a massive tent.
I've never saw one that big. Even the circus looked small compared to that tent. To have their banquet in, to be able to get 1,000, 1,200 people in. So, John, you think the future possibilities are kind of endless, aren't they?
They are. Why can't we bring the Fair Association here soon?
Hey, my thought was exactly that, to bring them in and have them here, and instead of us traveling to
Isn't that the
Nashville or
truth?
somewhere, let's have it in Cookville. Wes, you traveled around, cattle roping, is it, horse shows, those kind of
Team
things?
roping, barrel races. We go to,
You go all over the
races.
country, right?
Yeah, we go to barrel races that have 5,000 barrel racers in it. And you imagine parking 2,500 trailers at the expo center, but you've got to have a facility and proper stalling to host these people. Camper hookups.
That's a big thing now.
Camper hookups are going big. Everybody's traveling in campers.
And pulling these big trailers and campers, and they're looking to pay a rental fee, to be able to hook up, which would be revenue coming back to the county. We think, I don't know what Wilson County, I think one of the commissioners had talked to someone down there that maybe they were bringing in over $500,000 a year in revenue. Of course, you have some operating expenses. The county's goal would not be to make money, it'd be to at least just to break even, but don't you think?
Well,
that's
let's make
that's
some money.
Well, I'd like to too.
And build some more buildings.
But worst case scenario would be at least to break even, but do you think that it would be a prosperous venture for us to do this?
You put somebody to marketing that and the sky is the limit.
Yep.
You
You
build it-
can make money. You'll make money, I guarantee you, if you put somebody to marketing it.
I think so too. That's gonna be the key, is getting the marketing out there to bring those large shows and events in. I've been to several, and I know you have too, in Wilson County and these other places. Amazing at the amount of people that turn out for those things.
Yeah.
People are looking for things to do.
Entertainment.
It's about entertainment, it's about life events, stuff that they can take their kids to, the things that they can go to be able to have something to do. And we currently don't have the facilities to be able to do those kind of things. Amazed at the number of people that attend the Wilson County Fair, John.
I know.
I mean, I still think we could have something similar to that in Putnam
No
County.
question about it. One of these days will be a regional fair.
I think so too. So we're looking at two pieces of property. The county commission is going to be making a decision hopefully in October or November. The fiscal review committee meets Monday night at 5:30. County Commission meets the third Monday night at 6 o'clock. It's on the agenda. They have either the month of October or the month of November to make a decision before the options on the property go away. So we're hoping that the County Commission will do something in one of those 2 months. If you have an opinion, I suggest that you call your county commissioners. We have those on our website at putnamcountytn.gov. We have cell phone numbers where you can contact them and let them know what your opinion is, regardless of what that is. We like to hear from the public. Here's some folks also talking about possibly selling the old fairgrounds, maybe selling some of the other county property. The goal would be that hopefully that what we pay for this and put into the new facility, we'd be able to get the money back out to help pay for that, so it would be a break-even situation. Guys, I appreciate y'all being on the show today.
Delighted to be here.
And thank you for what you do for Putnam County with all the volunteer hours you guys put in to make the fair what it is every year. Very proud of our fair and what you do, and I want to say thank you for what you do for putting on a great Putnam County
You're
fair.
welcome.
And thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our show for today. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about the Putnam County Fair and the possibilities of a new fairgrounds and event or expo center. I want to thank my guests, John Allen, Wes Roberson, and Jeremy Glascock, for being here. Hope you join us every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. and Sunday afternoons at 2 for Today in Putnam County on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. You can also download the WHUB app and listen to us on your cell phone. If you missed any of our shows, go to my website at randyporter.org. As always, I appreciate Brett Carl Fleshman for producing my show each week. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and may God continue to bless our great county. That's it.